Hey, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in. Look, you saw from the title, I am live. It's been a while since I've actually gone live here on my channel. You have seen me, obviously, over on Integrity and other shows like that, but I felt like I just wanted to come on here and talk about some stuff instead of doing a whole bunch of videos, which would take a lot of time. Why not go live, talk about it all with you all, obviously get your thoughts on everything with that. Hey, what's going on, Jory? Appreciate you tuning in. And who knows, depending on how this goes and, the reception from you all, I might do this more often. Maybe every Wednesday we'll do this. Maybe a little bit earlier. I don't know. We'll see. Hannah Tucker, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, I have posted in the chat, I believe both places, a Discord where you can go and join my server where we can talk about other stuff when I'm not live or, when I'm not doing videos or anything like that. So I am going to talk about a lot here tonight. Try not to, be around for too long. Nice intro. Appreciate that. I will say, yes, that was also one of the main reasons why I wanted to go live was that I did that intro like a couple of months ago and never had a chance to use it. So there you go. At least, George says she likes it. Hopefully you all like that one as well. What's going on, Con Man? Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, what am I going to talk about? I mean, you saw it in the description. I'm going to talk some NBA. Talk about the NBA Cup. Talk about my Celtics. And talk about this new baseball rule, my thoughts, as well as the Red Sox and their free agency. I want to talk about the Patriots. And now that they are eliminated from the playoffs, even though they've been eliminated in my mind for weeks now, but they've been officially eliminated. Give you my thoughts with them. Like, should they make any changes come next season? We'll see. And kind of ended off with the college football playoff because I see a lot of people have a lot of opinions when it comes to that for sure. But yeah, so comment. Hopefully you're doing well. Hold on a second. Just make sure everything's okay. So we got YouTube in here, got Twitch, got Facebook. Hopefully the audio is perfect for you all. Obviously, let me know if it's not. Yes, Hannah, I do see your chats. I mean, stream is going well so far. Hopefully you are enjoying your evening. So with that, let's go ahead and get into this. Like I said, I don't want to be around, 2-3 hours is boring you. Let's get into these topics. I want to hear from you, of course, and everything like that. So let's start off with baseball. They're talking about this golden at bat, which, to be honest with you, I have no idea what this is about. Like, I think baseball is now trying to do too much because they went so long without changing their game that now they're just going like off the top rope with all these, random rules that they want to implement. George says Al-Shaair's suspension's been upheld. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that as well. Because, yeah, everybody from Tom Brady to probably every podcaster or TikToker you might have checked out had an opinion on it. I'll give you my thoughts on the hit as well. Hannah says, are we getting dubs today? Not a gaming stream, although those will be coming back as well. I should have one next coming days. But yeah, so baseball basically wants a rule where you, in a certain situation, like in the ninth inning, if you're down, you can now circumvent the batting order and bring up a special designated hitter to hit whenever they want to. So basically, think of it as Red Sox are down 3-2, bottom of the ninth, and there's 2 outs. The hitter that's coming up to the plate isn't that good of a hitter. And let's say Rafael Devers batted in the 8th inning. So according to this new rule, since it's the bottom of the ninth, you're losing, and it's not his turn to hit, but obviously he's one of the best hitters in the lineup, you can now put him in to hit for this golden at bat to try to get your team back into the game. That's basically the outline for it. I think it's dumb. I think it's baseball doing way too much. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand why that would be a good rule for anybody. Like, you have the batting lineup for a reason. If your lineup is relying on just one guy to come up with timely hits, you're probably not a winning team anyway. So why should MLB bail you out with a rule like that? MLB changing stuff because everybody else is. I mean, pretty much. They went so many years without evolving their game that now, since the pitch clock and stuff have worked, I guess they're just taking any and every option that's out there. I don't think that they're actually going to do it, because I think when it comes to the MLB, if fans don't like it and are vocal about it, like they won't do it. That's where I think they are with it. They're not going to do it. Let's see. Hannah, appreciate the follow on IG. Appreciate that. So yeah, I think it's dumb. That's just me. I feel like it's kind of weird that I've been one of those who's wanting the game to evolve for so long, but now we're in a position where they are trying things. I give them credit for that. But with this would be way too far. Way too far. There's other things they can fix about the game. This is not one of them. That's yeah. I mean, like I said, I just wanted to touch on that really quickly so I can segue into this Juan Soto and the Red Sox. I think to a lot of people, I guess depending on what you hear, like the Red Sox are favorites in the Juan Soto sweepstakes. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I feel like Juan Soto is going to stay in New York. He's either going to go back to the Yankees or become a Met. I kind of think he's going to end up with the Mets because the Mets are just going to go above and beyond to try to get him. And I just don't – I think the Yankees are willing to keep him at a price. But if he starts getting crazy like we're hearing, he wants like 15 years, like $700 million. Like, that's crazy. I mean, not necessarily numbers I thought I would be seeing in the MLB in 2024, but we've been kind of trending that way for sure. And if the Red Sox do it, I would be happy with it. I hope it's not the only move that they're trying to make, because I do need them to make some upgrades to the pitching staff. Would love to see Corbin Burns or Max Fried signed. And hopefully they're not waiting for this Juan Soto stuff to happen before they do that. I hope they're not doing that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. The winter meetings are about to start. Supposedly, a decision could be in the works with Juan Soto like in the next week or so. I hope it's not something that lingers all offseason like last season, where Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery didn't sign until like the week of opening day. We don't need that, because all Juan Soto's delay will do is delay the rest of the offseason. And this is something that I would like to see MLB fix. Their offseason needs to be more. There needs to be more action. Like, if you're a new free agent, there needs to be like some cutoff date or something like that. We can't have big name guys waiting around like 95% of the offseason period to sign. It just does nothing for the excitement of the offseason. Look at the NFL. As soon as the NFL season ends, like, you're locked into free agency, and they get it kind of going pretty quickly. NBA does the same thing. For some reason, the MLB, no. And in those months when they're not playing, it's hard for them to keep the attention of sports fans if nothing's going on. So for the sake of baseball, they need Juan Soto to sign soon. We know Scott Boras is his agent. Scott Boras is going to play the process out as much as he can to make sure he gets the most money for his client. But after what he did last year, Juan Soto needs to kind of get it going quickly as well. But all right, so we got through baseball. I had to start off with that. Like I said, haven't done so far. Kind of get back into the groove of doing these lives. Like I said, if you enjoy this, hit the like, follow or subscribe like Hannah did. I did see the IG follow. I did see that, Hannah. I did. So you could be like her and follow me on all the socials and everything like that. That should be in my profile. But let's move on to, let's go NFL. Jory brought this up. Al-Shaair suspended 3 games. As she also said, it's been upheld. Look, the hit obviously looked terrible because it happened to a quarterback, open field. You see Trevor Lawrence with his arms locked up. So that's where a lot of the, I don't know, like all of the outrage came from. Whenever we see quarterbacks hit like that, it's going to cause a reaction. Do I agree with the suspension? Yes. The length of it, I feel like we could argue about. You know, was 3 games too much? Should have only been a game? Fine. But I do think a suspension needed to be, like, levied. Now, the other part of this story, well, 2 parts. One, the fans that are, you know, throwing a lot of hate his way and you know, racial stuff like that. Like, look, it's 2024. It's going to happen. I know. I get that. It's unnecessary, which goes without saying, but it's going on, Trajan. I'm good. How you doing? But it's just like, he made the play, and in a sport like football where it's fast, very physical, plays like this are going to happen, unfortunately. Not saying that I'm one of those, because I've seen some of this online where, like, people are just wanting like the Wild Wild West on the field, and, you know, guys get laid out, they get laid out. The NFL obviously can't have that happen because of all the attention that's been put on to concussions, knowing what we know about what happens with them later on in life. So the league can't not pay attention to stuff like this. But I feel like there could be maybe some onus on, you know, coaching staffs. I think Tom Brady brought this up, where he's like, if you're going to run the ball, have design runs with your running back. Well, I mean, this wasn't even a design run, but he was kind of talking about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, those types where teams call design runs for them. Maybe those teams probably should kind of cut back on those, because these guys are going to hit moving targets, and this is going to happen. So if you're a Ravens fan, imagine Lamar Jackson's rolling out to his right. He tries to go down, gets a hit like this, he's out for a season. Y'all would be upset and talking about how, you know, dirty hit here, dirty hit there. But you put him in that situation running the ball, this is what could happen. Same with Josh Allen, even though Josh Allen is a bigger guy for sure and could probably take that kind of hit. But is it an unnecessary risk? I think that's where Tom Brady was coming from. Jory says he's been warned 7 times, so a suspension was coming. Absolutely. Yes. where else you get almost 10 warnings and no punishment. Right. Yeah, I think within this, if you're going to argue against the suspension, you might be sitting on that bus alone with D'Amico Ryans, because D'Amico Ryans went about this like Al-Shaair did nothing wrong. It only escalated because the Jaguars overreacted to the hit. Or it's like, no, you laid out my quarterback. I'm coming after you. Like any football team would do that. Look, switch roles. CJ Stroud rolls out and gets hit like that. I guarantee you, D'Amico Ryans, your team's not just going to stand there with their arms folded and go, no, that's a football play. They'd have done the same thing. So, like, come on. But I think Al-Shaair obviously has to play a certain way for the position that he plays. For, I guess, obviously his reputation, he's going to have to kind of go a million miles an hour and lay big hits. Problem is, how do you coach that? Knowing what we know about how players like to hit, lowering their head, just kind of diving at an area and hoping to hit a body, instead of like when I played in middle school and high school, whatever, they made sure to teach you, like, you keep your head up, wrap your arms, tackle. Down the line, that's kind of been lost. Now it's, launch yourself, knock guys out, cause fumbles. Even though form tackling, you can cause a fumble. Like, it's been done. But, these guys are trying to lay people out to send messages. So, yes, Al-Shaair did his thing. But like I said, Tom Brady and a lot of these other pundits and analysts are now looking at it with the scope of what was Al-Shaair supposed to do in this situation. Because we've seen quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes, Kenny Pickett, who run, kind of slow down, making it seem like they're giving themselves up to trick defenses and defenders into pulling up, then continuing to run. So if quarterbacks are doing that, what are you expecting these linebackers, these safeties coming down from 15, 20 yards deep downfield? They can't necessarily hesitate because they don't want to give up on added yardage. So I think that this is something that the league probably has to look at. I don't know. Like, you can't tell teams like, oh, guess what? Your quarterback can't scramble anymore. That's not going to happen. One, it will take away from, mobile quarterbacks. Like, that's part of their arsenal. But you also can't have hits like this going unpenalized because it's football. Can't have that either. So, I mean, look, if any of you in the chat have a suggestion, like, what does the league do about this? Because I've seen, look, there was the Trevor Lawrence. Joe Flacco had a pretty nasty one a couple of years ago. I think that was a playoff game, like, against the Dolphins? And I remember that one, like, he went into a slide, got hit, and his helmet, like, basically his helmet came off, which, like, bloodied his ear, and he was concussed. Like, images like that, the league doesn't want. There's Matt Moore in that playoff game against the Steelers where he took the hit. Pat White, I've seen. Like, these images with these quarterbacks are what a lot of people kind of hold on to. So, Al-Shaair is suspended 3 games. I fully expect that he's still going to kind of play the way that he does. But, okay, here we go. Quarterbacks need to stop sliding late. Yes, because I do think, Trajan, who was in here, like, talked about it on his show, full speed, it does look like Lawrence slides late, which at that point, what do you really do as Al-Shaair? I think if you slow it down and, like, go slow motion, it seems like Al-Shaair had time to, if not necessarily not hit Trevor Lawrence, but not hit him the way that he did. So it's kind of a tricky situation. I think quarterbacks should stop sliding late for their own safety. Like, that should be ingrained in them. Because no quarterback wants to take a hit like Trevor Lawrence did. And I get it. Trevor Lawrence is trying to get a first down, wants to get as many yards as he can before he goes down. But, yeah, so maybe this is on offensive coaches to kind of hammer in the mentality with their quarterbacks to get down early rather than late. Look, it might be 3rd and 15, you're scrambling, and maybe you have a chance to get that 16th yard. But if guys are barreling down on you and you slide, 3 yards short, sure, some fans might boo, but we kind of need you for the next play. So I'd rather, I think this is where Jory's coming from. I'd rather you slide a yard or two too early than a half yard late and expose yourself to a hit like Trevor Lawrence took. So, yeah. Let's see here. So, yeah, going from that to the Patriots. And obviously, look, if you're in the chat and there's like something else you want to talk about, make sure you drop that in the chat as well. If you want to talk about your team or anything in general, drop it in the chat right now. So the Pats are eliminated from the playoffs after losing to the Colts. They're 3-10. And I actually did a video on the channel, which you can check out after this, where I kind of talked about the game a little bit more. But, looking at how that game went, I've seen all over YouTube and, watching Boston Sports Radio and their live feeds, like a lot of the, talk show, the talking heads and all that are talking about like this coaching staff failing Drake May. I mean, I guess what, because they're 3-10 as opposed to 10-3, we're blaming Gerard Mayo and Elliott Wolf and Alex Van Pelt, when this same group, basically minus Drake May and Jalen Polk, is the same group that last year with Bill Belichick won 4 games. So I don't know why, when Belichick did it last year, and Patriots fans all over wanted Belichick gone, they make the switch, and now you can't even give this new group a year to figure it out what Belichick hadn't figured out in like 2 or 3 years, to be honest with you. The last 2 or 3 years of Belichick in New England, not fun. So my thought is, I would give Gerard Mayo more time. I do know that there's Patriots fans that, since Mike Vrabel is technically still out there, would rather have Mike Vrabel than Gerard Mayo. Like I said, I would keep Gerard Mayo, but I get that. Because some people wanted Vrabel to get the job from day one. I understand that. But look, Robert Kraft came out and said Gerard Mayo was his guy like 4 years ago. And look, Robert Kraft knows how to, run the team. He was the guy at the top when he made the decision to bring in Belichick, when Belichick was not the most popular coaching candidate to bring into New England. Because Belichick was coming off of the disaster in Cleveland. He brought him in, and look what happened. I'm not saying Gerard Mayo is going to be Belichick, but we don't know how good of a coach Gerard Mayo is yet. And my thing is, like, until he has a better squad on the field, how do we know he's not a good coach? How do we know he isn't Mike Vrabel instead of wanting Mike Vrabel? Elliott Wolf. I'm sorry, he takes the job last offseason. He had 1 draft and 1 free agency. I can't evaluate him on the talent of this team when he didn't put most of this team together. So I think that now that they know Drake May is the guy, like if there's any Patriots fans that don't think Drake May's the guy, then I don't know what to tell you. Drake May's the guy. That now shapes how they attack this offseason and this free agency, this draft, I should say. The offensive line is still an issue. It was an issue at the end of Belichick's time. Still an issue. That's where the attention needs to go. The wide receiver position was an issue under Belichick. Now you can go ahead and try to fix that. They tried Jalen Polk. I'm not giving up on Jalen Polk either, but I think this draft, you draft another young wide receiver, throw him into the mix, see you get 4 wide receivers that you hit on, and run with it. I think the defense has slipped a little this year, but I think that's mainly because the linebacking group, I don't think is good enough. I think they need to get some speed at linebacker. That would help. And pass rush. I think every team needs that, so that goes without saying. So it's like, I think you need to give this group some time to show that they can't do it before we just write them off as not being able to do it. That's just my thought. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking that. I don't know. Jory says, Mr. Enigma. Well, I know that's Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Fighting Ayahuascas. Where do you begin with Aaron Rodgers, right? Look, I'm glad I'm not a Jets fan. I couldn't do it with Aaron Rodgers. I really couldn't. Like it, the last couple of years in Green Bay should have told the Jets what to expect. They didn't want to pay attention. They brought him in thinking he was the guy to lead them to the promised land. And as we've seen, he's far from that. And what else we've seen is when a season's going down the tubes like the Jets season has, Rodgers is not that type of locker room leader to rally everybody together and turn the tide. Because it's just getting worse week by week. I think numbers-wise, he's kind of tricking some people to think he's having a decent season. It's been a disaster with Aaron Rodgers. Like, let's be real. I feel like with Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson has taken a step back. That's dumb. I think even Davante Adams bringing him in hasn't worked out. Because whatever connection they used to have clearly is not as strong as it once was. And I think Davante Adams still has talent at wide receiver. So clearly, more of that issue is on Aaron Rodgers. His talent has slipped like remarkably. All the talk like the last 4 or 5 years with Tom Brady, Max Kellerman and those guys who like, Brady's going to fall off a cliff. You want to see what falling off a cliff looks like? Tune into the next Jets game and watch Aaron Rodgers. That's falling off a cliff. So if I'm the Jets, if I know anything about, winning culture, I can't have Aaron Rodgers back. Like this needs to be it for him. Last year you had the excuse because he got hurt like 4 plays into the season. Maybe you saved yourselves 2 years of this because of him getting hurt. But this year, I would not sit there and be like, well, if we change this or that, Aaron Rodgers would be better. No, he won't. This is what he is. Bye. Go free agency, draft a young quarterback, and start over. The defense, I think there are some issues on that side of the ball, but I think that's salvageable with probably your next head coach, whoever that's going to be. I know Rex Ryan apparently wants the job. Sure. Look, if all else fails, like Rex Ryan will give you a soundbite. He'll coach up the defense, so I can understand that. Like he'll do that. I just think that might be look. You might be done with the Aaron Rodgers show if he's gone. You'll just be rehashing that Rex Ryan show. I don't know if Rex Ryan's going to deliver anything in New York, but I guess it's worth a try, But yeah, this needs to be it for Aaron Rodgers. If I'm another team, I look at this and I say, I don't care if he's a free agent this offseason. I don't need him on my team. This should be it for Aaron Rodgers playing wise. He should go off, retire, do whatever it is he thinks of doing outside of those like ayahuasca caves. Like hop in one for 2 weeks, come out, first thing on your mind, outside of football, go do that. Just stay away. I feel like your NFL days are over. You made your legacy. You're going to be a Hall of Famer and all that good stuff. Why linger around and just, yeah. So that's what I would say. We'll see what the Jets do. I mean, supposedly the Jets are like done with him. That's the report, that they're like off the Aaron Rodgers train after this season, no matter what. Which that might be the smartest thing the Jets have done in several years, if that's true. But I know, the Jets that I know as a Patriots fan, they're going to seriously think about bringing him back, I think. But it's neither here nor there. All right. Let's go NBA. Yes. Here we go. So we have the NBA Cup, which I'll kind of weave into the Celtics here a little bit. But the NBA Cup has ended the group stage. I think the bracket is out. I'll up for you, but um, so basically in the East you have. So if I remember off the top of my head, you have the Bucks, the Knicks, the Magic, and the Hawks. Check out the Hawks in the NBA Cup quarterfinals. I mean, I'm not expecting much from them, but good for them. Like the Hawks are a team. If they won the NBA Cup, it would probably mean something because we know they're not winning the finals. There's question about whether they'll make the playoffs or not. So if they won the NBA Cup, like I think fans in Atlanta, I want to say they would probably celebrate it, but I think a lot of them just wouldn't pay attention and wouldn't care. But like that team, okay. If you're the Bucks and you win the NBA Cup, do you care? Probably not. Although the way their season started, maybe this would be a sign of them that the changes or whatever the momentum has shifted and they're playing better. Maybe that works for them. But like the Knicks, this probably shouldn't be that big of a deal to them. The Magic too. I think the Magic, the NBA Cup would be a big deal for them as a young group that's still trying to grow and become a legitimate contender. Winning the NBA Cup, like a playoff style, somewhat in the middle of the season. I mean, early in the season, not really the middle, but early season that gives them kind of an idea of what a playoff series could look like. So I think if you're looking at the East, the Magic and the Hawks, this would probably be the bigger deal for those two. Out West, you're looking at the Thunder, the Mavericks, Mavericks, Suns, and let me just pull it up for you guys. Hold on a second. Because I do think ESPN has a predictum type of fantasy style game for it, which I'll find that, and I may actually fill it out for you right here so I can give you my predictions on it as filling it out. And maybe I'll create a group, open it up to you all who tune in if you want to join in. We'll see who can predict the NBA Cup better. Well, that's coming up. So the Celtics' involvement in this was last night with the last round of group play games. The Celtics had a shot of getting in. They needed a lot to happen, but they had a shot. The toughest part was the Knicks Magic game because they needed the 37 points and all that's kind of a lot to ask. I feel like that the ESPN tab's like messing with my shirt. So I'm not going to pull that up. I'll pull up on my phone. We'll talk through it. So they don't make it because the Knicks kind of let go of the rope. The Magic get the point differential that they needed. And I feel like the reaction from some Celtics fans was actually disappointed, which I thought was hilarious because I could have cared less whether they advanced or not because they just won a title last season. They don't necessarily care about winning an NBA Cup. Let's be real. So I had no problem with that. But looking at the Celtics in general, though, I feel like this season they've shown they're primed and ready to, go back to back. Now, there is a bit of a worry with me. And I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that there's this report that Tatum's dealing with an injury that he's kind of managing right now worries me a little bit. Because obviously if he were to go down, that would affect their chances. I know it was last week. I think Derek White had a foot injury that he played last night or whatever, or the night before. That kind of worries me. Is that something that's going to linger all season? We've seen Drew Holiday. I think I think he has a knee issue that he's dealing with. So that would worry me going deeper into the season. Horford's an older guy. He has to sit out games already anyway. I guess the worry has to be like, will there be a point where Horford just completely breaks down? I don't know. Porzingis came back from ankle surgery or something. The worry is obviously there for him to not be healthy a lot of the season, maybe in and out of the lineup. So there are worries if they can actually go back to back, but I think all things considered, Tatum looks better this year than he did last year. I think Jaylen Brown looks better this year than last year. If those two are healthy and ready to go, I think they're fine. Despite what Gilbert Arenas has said, if you haven't seen the TikTok, Gilbert Arenas is watching, I guess, a Celtics game with his podcast group. He basically, he mocked the Celtics for having Peyton Pritchard on the floor, which let me know Gilbert Arenas knows zero about the Celtics. Peyton Pritchard is literally the leader for Sixth Man of the Year. And Gilbert Arenas didn't know his name. All he said was number 11 can't be on the court. So that right there definitely was one of the reasons why I needed to go live, to kind of address people like that who have big audiences and don't even know who Peyton Pritchard is. That's hilarious to me. He's talking about Drew Peterson as well, which that's fine. Drew Peterson is just a random guy, but Peyton Pritchard, like, come on. Like, Peyton Pritchard's scoring 20 easily. Sometimes 30 some of these nights, and you don't know his name, but whatever. So Peyton Pritchard has become an important part of the team. But I think where the Celtics still have a chance is because Tatum and Brown are continuing to play, kind of their unselfish way, in that if Brown has it going, Tatum's fine letting him cook. Other way around, if Tatum has it going, Brown will let him do it. Now it's to the point where if Peyton Pritchard's hot on a certain night, those two guys will take a backseat to Peyton Pritchard and let him go off. They've done it for Derek White. They've done it for Al Horford. I think there's been a couple of games where Al Horford's knocked down several threes, like 4 or 5 threes. Those two will do whatever they can to get Al Horford those looks. And I think that's where the Celtics are different from a lot of teams. I think a lot of these teams, they have their number one. That number one knows what they're supposed to do, and they go out and get theirs without necessarily making the other ones around them better. I think Tatum and Brown do a good job of that. I think Mazzulla's done a good job of, changing it up a little, inserting Jordan Walsh into the lineup sometimes, giving them 5, 7, 10 minutes of game action. I think stuff like that is needed when they're trying to achieve what they're trying to achieve. I think that Nemias, I think it's how you pronounce his first name, Keita, he has basically overtaken Tillman for his spot. And you could make the argument he's cut into Luke Cornett's minutes. Even though Luke Cornett is still effective when he's on the floor, Keita brings something that Luke Cornett does not bring. Cornett can catch lobs, but Keita's more athletic around the rim than Cornett is. I think those two moves right there have helped this year. I think the fact that he's not afraid to throw Drew Peterson out there. I mean, it was a bit of garbage time, but he still threw him out there. I just think that Mazzulla has really come into his own. We've seen him in press conferences really show who he is as a very intense guy. I love Joe Mazzulla. I love the fact that he is like that. And I think it's rubbed off on a lot of people on the team. I think Jaylen Brown's one of them. I think this, me versus the world mentality that Jaylen Brown has, I think a lot of that has to do with Mazzulla kind of unlocking that in him. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But I just think that between Brad Stevens, what he's done with the team, I think if they have an issue going to the trade deadline, Brad Stevens is one of the few GMs or guys who are in charge of that will find sometimes a creative way to bring in a piece that fills a need without completely disrupting the team. So I love that about what they have going on. They're second in the East right now, behind the Cavs, who they've already beaten once. I think they meet again in a few weeks. I mean, the Cavs are having a good season, but I would still put my money on the Celtics if it was me. I'm not even sure if the Cavs are their biggest competition, although I do like the potential for the Cavs roster. I think a lot of people are looking at the Knicks. I'm not completely sold on the Knicks yet. Bridges hasn't really shown me anything outside of opening night when he struggled. I think obviously he's knocking down more shots now, but I don't know if he's going to do that in a playoff series if they're facing the Celtics. I think the Celtics will be able to make it difficult on him, and I don't know if he'll be the type to battle through that. And yeah, I don't know about the Knicks. What's kind of like come down to those two teams as the hope of anybody in the East knocking off the Celtics outside of health, of course. So that's where I'm at with the Celtics. Once again, there's a NBA question that you have or a team you want to talk that you want me to talk about, drop that in the chat. Otherwise, we'll keep it moving along. I mean, like I said, haven't done one of these in a while, so appreciate those of you who were tuned in. If you've gone in and out, that's all good. If you watch it after the fact, appreciate you as well. Make sure, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. So, like I said, since this is the first one I've done in a while, I'll let you know. I'm going to try to do this as a Wednesday thing. I'll try. We'll see how that goes, but I'm going to try for Wednesdays. I'm going to try to do like 30, 45 minutes. Although this is the first time in a while, it might push an hour. I'm going to warn you right now with that. And like I said, hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you hear it in my voice or I am sniffling a little bit, I'm almost to the point over this cold. I'm getting there. So, excuse the sniffles and all that. All right, here we go. Lakers inconsistency. Yes. So, once again, as a Celtics fan, I'm talk about the Lakers inconsistency. Hopefully it doesn't come across as like, the Celtics pride in me, reveling in all this. But I think with the Lakers, they have to play through Anthony Davis, which I feel like they've done more of that this year. That I like. That's a good one. I think two, the kind of sideshow with LeBron, Bronny, and all that, I do think that's going to drag down the potential a little bit because we got LeBron out here talking about I'm going to play 82 games. Anybody and everybody knows he's not playing 82 games. We know that. He's got this double-digit scoring streak that he's been going on. It's been like 1,200 games, which is crazy, 1,200 plus. The other night, he had 9 points late in the game, and they kept him out there in a game that they were losing big. And then magically, he gets like his 10th point, and he's pulled from the game. Okay, cool. The Bronny part of this, which should not be a factor, I think is still a factor. Because now people are talking about what he's in the G League. I think they brought him up. Didn't they bring him up like last week or something? Jory, you can let me know. I haven't necessarily paid all that attention to that. I've seen him in the G League a couple of times. Yeah, he needs to stay down there. But anyway, to the Lakers. Biggest issue I have with the Lakers, their bench. I do not like their bench at all. Especially with, I think, isn't Austin Reeves like hurt right now? So D'Angelo Russell, who's supposed to be on the bench, is starting again. which now takes away, as erratic as D'Angelo Russell is, he's the one guy off the bench that you could count on to score. That's a problem. Cam Reddish, what's his purpose? Like, they had with Taurean Prince last year. Cam Reddish is Taurean Prince 2.0. Sorry to let you know that. They have like Max Christie. It's like a lot of guys who you hope can give you something every night. 9 times out of 10 won't. They need a person or two off that bench that if they come in, what you're getting for the most part every night. They don't have that. I think that's going to be a problem, especially when you're looking at the age of LeBron, the health history with AD. Not saying like he can't repeat what he did last year where he was pretty much healthy, but you have to factor in those nights where AD may need to miss a game or two. What are you going to do on those nights? You can't just run guys out there, they're going to lose by 30, because that's crazy. That's wild. So I think the Lakers need to get active, get into I don't even know where they look necessarily, but try to move some pieces and future draft picks and get somebody for that bench. Like I said, all things considered, Reeves in the starting lineup, you have D'Angelo Russell off the bench. Get a second guy. And if you don't do that, I don't know what the optimism would necessarily be for this Lakers team going forward. Hold on a second. Yeah, so that's where I feel like that's the Lakers' biggest issue. And when you're looking at the West, like, I know what the Thunder are. I think I know what the Mavs are. I think that after that, Golden State, I'm kind of putting up into that group of knowing who they are. After that, like, the West is wide open. So I think if the Lakers can make a move, get a bench piece, then I think they'll be better off. I still don't know if they can win the title this year. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Lakers. Let's see. The Heat are boring. Yes, they absolutely are. Look, if you are a Heat fan and you tune in, your team is boring. And let me see. Can I say that in a way that's not mean after I just put it out there? But my problem watching the Heat, they're just too predictable, which I think is where the boring comes in. They try to get Tyler Hero open on dribble handoffs with Bam Adebayo. He'll start on the left side of the court, come around to the right, and he'll either pull up or go into the mid-range and pull up. That's their one offensive play. Then it's the fake handoff by Adebayo, reverse pivot, he goes into the lane for a pull-up. That's their next play. Or it's dump it into Jimmy Butler, have him flop for a foul call. That's like the Heat offense right there. Oh, Duncan Robinson, sorry, when he comes into the game, he just replaces Tyler Hero in that same dribble action. That's all the Heat do. There's a reason why the Heat are struggling. That's not going to work against a lot of the teams in the East that have more firepower than the Heat do. I know what the Heat were a couple of years ago, that plucky 8 seed that, gave the Celtics trouble and beat them and everything. Those days are over. Jimmy Butler's not that guy. Tyler Hero, I think, is still somebody that they can, build around or whatever. But You got Terry Rozier on that roster who, when Terry Rozier first got there, people were all about, oh, Terry Rozier is this, and that. You know what Terry Rozier is? Inconsistent. That's what he is. He's been that, is that, will be that. He does not scare me down in Miami. Sorry. I loved him on the Celtics. But down in Miami, whatever. Duncan Robinson, remember? Duncan Robinson was this guy like, oh man, he's such a great three-point shooter. Where's that? At least the times I've seen him play against the Celtics, he's basically a non-factor. Doesn't scare me. Adebayo, I like. I do kind of think that because he's in Miami, he's a bit overrated. But I like Adebayo. I'm not going to sit here and necessarily kill him. Like he's evolved his game over the years. I give him a lot of credit. He's a very athletic big. He's kind of undersized against certain guys, but he has like the length and everything to still handle his own. He and Hero are like the two pieces in Miami I would keep. I think everybody else can go. That includes Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is not winning you a title in 2024 as your number one guy. He's not. He's not winning you one in 2025, 2026. However many years he plans on playing, he's not that guy. So if you're Miami, move him out. Do something else. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe that was harsh. Mm-hmm. Bucks turn the corner. Yes. I feel like that was always going to happen. I say it all the time. I said it during their slow start. If there's a guy I'm not going to count out, it's Giannis. I think Giannis has done that. He's led this turnaround. Question is, obviously, how long will it last? Will they burn him out? Will Giannis become East Jokic? Because if you watch Denver now, Jokic, if they continue like this, like Jokic is going to get burned out trying to do every and anything for that squad. When you have Jamal Murray, who's taken a little step back, Porter Jr., his inconsistency hurts them some nights. Like they need two guys to step up and carry more of the load from Jokic. I think it's the same thing with Milwaukee. I know from Giannis, I think Dame could be better, but I'll put Dame with Giannis. Outside of that, you're relying on Brook Lopez, older, Bobby Portis, older. Relying on Pat Connaughton, don't know why. Gary Trent Jr., Bucks roster doesn't necessarily scream contender. I just think they are because of Giannis, solely because of Giannis. That is my only reason for thinking the Bucks have even the slightest chance of knocking off the Celtics, knocking off Knicks, Cavs, and making a finals run. Outside of that, I don't like much about the Bucks team. But they are playing better now, so if the Bucks can find themselves, like the Bucks find themselves like the 3-4 seed, I think they would be in a good position to at least make the Eastern Conference Finals. Because they do have experience. The Cavs got a little bit of experience last year, but they still don't have a lot as a group. This Knicks group this is their first year together. So we'll have to see what that looks like. It might look good in the regular season, but the playoffs are completely different. We'll have to see what the Knicks do this year. The Pacers have fallen off. I just mentioned the Hawks, who are, I think, currently the 6th seed. The Hawks do nothing for me come playoff time. Although, I do like Jalen Johnson. I think the Recess Shea guy that they drafted that nobody really knew much about, I think he's shown that he's got some skill. Now, he and Jalen Johnson are kind of similar body type-wise, but I like them. Dyson Daniels, who they got from the DeJounte Murray trade, he's good as well. Like, he's a really good wing defender. That's what you'll need in the East to go up against Jaylen Brown, Tatum. I'm about to say Maxey, but I think the Sixers are well out of the playoffs right now. But Dame Lillard, Brunson, one of these guys who plays out on the perimeter, Dyson Daniels can hold his own against those guys. And against some of them, kind of lock them up. So those three I like. I've said for years, Trae Young, he can go. And I think it's even more so now that you have like those three younger building blocks to go with. But I know Atlanta loves Trae Young, so I don't know if it happens. But I don't know. I think it would be interesting to see what the Hawks could do if they kind of unburden themselves with Trae Young and gave Quinn Snyder a group that could play a little bit more free-flowing. Because they are still too Trae Young-centric for me to necessarily think they'll do anything remarkable this season. All right. So, we talked about all that, and I forgot to do the NBA Cup. So hold on a second. Why have you got NBA.com? Let me see. And because I want to see, where is it? Oh, here we go. So in the NBA Cup, the Western Conference would have the Thunder versus the Mavericks, then Rockets versus Golden State. Okay. East, you got the Bucks versus the Magic, and then Knicks versus Hawks. So, I guess quick plug here. Tuesday, Integrity Sports Network will be doing a watch along for one of the games. I don't know. They haven't released the schedule yet, but my guess is it's probably going to be Knicks Hawks. That's my guess, but we'll see. So looking at the West, if I was to predict how the West will go, I think the Thunder beat the Mavericks. I think the Thunder are a better team. I think, the Mavericks have the Mavericks are still okay, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year. I predicted, Celtics Thunder in the finals this year. I just think the Thunder are a better team with SGA and all those guys there. I think they'll be too much for the Mavericks to handle. Rockets Warriors is interesting. Like the Rockets are the future of the West. Warriors are that old guard. I kind of think the Warriors get the Rockets in the quarterfinals. I think the Warriors beat the Rockets. I think it's going to be a hard-fought effort from the Rockets, but I just think that the Warriors will probably know how to. I think it'll be a close game late, and I would trust the Warriors to execute late a little more than the Rockets right now. Like I said, the Rockets are the future. The Rockets are coming for sure. So I'll take the Thunder and the Warriors in the West. And then in the East, despite the fact that Trae Young seems to go off against the Knicks, I think the Knicks will beat the Hawks. But I think it's going to be a close game. I do. Because I think that Karl-Anthony Towns will be able to take advantage of the big men from Atlanta. Even though I think Okongwu is good. I think Okongwu can be physical with Cat down low and, challenge him at the rim and all that kind of stuff. I think he'll be a matchup nightmare for Capella, to be honest with you. But I also think he will pull those two guys out on the perimeter. And if they're not ready, he'll shoot threes out there. Or if they do drag him out, there'll be Brunson, Hart, and those guys going to the rim. So I think I'll go with the Knicks. I wouldn't be surprised if the Hawks win. I'll take the Knicks. Bucks and the Magic. The Magic really struggle against the Knicks. I think that's I don't know how well I feel about them. I mean, the Knicks were just a different opponent. The Bucks might be a good matchup for them. I'll take the Bucks. I'll take the Bucks to beat the Magic. So we'll have, at least according to me, Bucks versus Knicks in the East, and then Thunder Warriors in the West. I think the Knicks will beat the Bucks, and then I will take Thunder to beat the Warriors. I think the Thunder win the NBA Cup. There we go. That's my prediction. But I mean, you guys can let me know what you think. Probably off stream, I'll try to find. I know I saw somewhere that somebody's running like some NBA Cup predicting type of game. So if I find that, I'll fill one out. I'll create a group and then post it on the page and everything like that, and then allow you guys to enter, and we'll see. Have some fun with it. All right, come up on it. Well, just over an hour. Probably good timing because I'm kind of down to my last topic. Last call. So for this, the college football playoff. A lot of people have been talking about it. And I mean, let me see if I can try to pull that up without my computer going nuts. Which I am getting a new computer, which hopefully will make it work a little better. But hold on a second. So let's see. As long as I could just talk about it, but I kind of want to show the bracket while doing this. Let's do that. Boom. Okay. I want to show you where some of the kind of criticism for it is coming from. Make sure stream. I think the video's still good. Okay. All right, here we go. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, so the conference championships are this weekend. So some of this may change a little bit, but they released the pre-conference championship bracket, and I think because of that, some people are losing their mind over a couple of teams. No. Okay, where did it go? Hold on. I feel like it opened somewhere on the computer. Oh, there we go. Hold on. I got it. I got it. See? Isn't this fun? This at the same time. All right. Do this. Let's do that. What is going on here? Hold on. Technical difficulty. That. Oh, was it about to pull up? Hold on. Nope. No, it was not. Okay. Tries to get the screen. What do we got going on here? All right. It doesn't want to. It doesn't want to do it right now. So Al-Shaair. I think I figured it out. I think it's pulling up. I'll be glad when the computer gets here. But so basically your top seeds, your four ranked teams that are conference have our leader. Yeah, I'm bogging this. Yeah. So I'm sure on your end it's probably lagging here. But it should. I mean, not. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, this. Yeah. Whatever. So it like muted me too. Like, what was that about? Oh, whatever. Just it's bogging it down. They have. I don't have a problem with that. I feel like top teams, whatever. Where a lot of the concern is coming is the fact that Bama's in. Or South Carolina, or we knew that not everybody's going to be happy. That goes with the territory. I don't have a problem with the 12 teams that they have right now. Hopefully, next time we go live, the screen share part works. But um, I got to pull up my phone really quickly so I can speak on this. All right. So, dealing with some potential matchups here. So Oregon's 1, like I said, Texas 2, SMU 3, Boise State 4. You have 5 Penn State, who would face 12 Arizona State. So Arizona State, last team to get in. You have 6 Notre Dame, who would face 11 Alabama. Like I said, a lot of people don't think Alabama deserves to be in. I'm going to say I think some teams missed an opportunity to keep Alabama out. Miami's number 1. If Miami took care of business, we would not have Alabama in, I believe. But Miami opened up the door. Clemson opened up the door. Alabama's there. Get over it. 7, you got Georgia. 10, Indiana. Indiana's been a fun story. I really hope they get the opportunity to play in the playoff. I think they deserve it. So hopefully they don't, committee doesn't try to screw them over. And then 8, 9, you got Ohio State, Tennessee. Ohio State didn't fall out of it after the loss to Michigan. I think that's fair. I think Ohio State's had a good year. I mean, Michigan was having a down year as well, but I don't think it's been enough to knock them out. And I think if you were a proponent for the 12-team playoff, I think looking at this bracket, it would be a success because I'm one of those who likes the 12-team. I think the fact that we have new teams in the mix is what this is all about. You know, Oregon struggled to make the 14 playoff. They're sitting there as a number 1 seed. Texas, a lot of times, played in the Big 12. Big 12 was usually left out. You're getting Texas in. I mean, these are all like blue blood, big name schools. Now, Indiana's not necessarily the biggest football school, but they're a big name school. So you're getting them in, fine. You got your normal Georgia, Alabama, Penn State, who normally couldn't get in with the 14 playoff because Michigan and Ohio State were ahead of them. You get them in. And this is what I'm saying. Like, people didn't like the 12-team playoff because they're like, oh, you're just opening the door for a bunch of whatever. Still big name schools. Now, yes, Boise State's not a big name. They used to be, but they're not really now. And SMU's not a big name school, but now more people be exposed to them. I think that's a good thing. I mean, look, for me, I say you go from 12 to 16 and you call it a day. I think 16 is the perfect point, but let's see how the 12-team playoff plays out first. And I do know that there's like some fantasy game for the college football playoff, so I'm going to fill out a bracket myself. That one I will open up to you all, so look for that probably shortly after I end this live, which I'm about to do here in a few minutes. I'm not going to run through my whole prediction on one end and you copying it. I'm kidding, but look out for that for sure. I do know that, you know, a lot of you are college football fans. So yeah, that's kind of all I had for you. Despite the technical difficulties here at the end with the screen share, which we'll get that figured out. We will. Yeah. Unless there's anything you want to talk about for like a couple of minutes, I'm gonna wrap it up. And I had a lot of fun doing this. Hopefully you enjoyed it tuning in. Like I said, hit the like button. Will obviously let me know. You know, the activity in the chat was good. I'd like to see a little bit more. But make sure you follow or subscribe, depending on where you're watching. So yeah, I'm going to try to make this a regular Wednesday thing, at least for a few weeks, and maybe expand it to some other days. I don't know. Or I may just pop up later on this week on another live. I don't know. Like I said, I do like doing these. I did, like I said, show the intro early on, the new intro, which I guess if you missed it, you have to go back and watch it. Or maybe I'll end with it, let you guys see it again. I don't know. You let me know. If you missed the intro, I'd like to see it again. But Jory just say it was a fire intro. Appreciate that. That's all I got for you. In the description, link to my Discord channel. So if you want to talk like more sports with me and everything when I'm not live or I don't have a video up, or actually since I'm not live, because if I have a video up, you can't interact with me during that. Anyway, unless you leave a comment, I will answer you. So if you do want more interaction, join the Discord. I'm usually in there like when I'm watching the Patriots play or another football game. I'll be talking about what I'm watching. If I'm watching the Celtics or whatever, just NBA, talking in there, and that way we can talk during the game as well. So I'm going to try to do some watch-alongs as well. Bring those back to the channel. I'm bringing back the live episodes. I'm going to bring back watch-alongs at some point. I've wanted to do it for a little bit, but it's been kind of crazy. Just kind of setting aside time to do one. So I'm going to try for that as well. And yeah, so like I said before, I do have a video up from yesterday where I talk about the Patriots and Colts, which I talked about a little bit on here. I will be on Integrity Sports Network tomorrow for Sideline to Sideline and Sports Banter, and then Friday I'm over there again for Passion and Precision. I'll also have a video up either tomorrow or Friday. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about yet, but look out for that. Okay, that's everything. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You enjoy the rest of your night. Look, with the time change, it looks a lot darker outside than it actually is. But enjoy the rest of your night. I will talk to you later. Be safe. God bless. I'm out of here. All right. Bye.